And you can tell by my smile how excited I am about it. The Martin Luther King Jr. Collegium of Scholars is sort of this cohort of academics and scholars, and they don't necessarily have to be in the professoriate, but I happen to be. Right. And they look for folks who are sort of making impact in their respective fields around social justice more broadly, but particularly thinking about how people's work is supporting and advocating for peace, or as they like to say, moral, cosmopolitan sort of social responsibility. And so, yeah, I am excited to kind of be a part of that legacy, and I think even more to sort of ramp up the ways that my work might be contributing to sort of peace and sort of social responsibility in the ways that Martin Luther King Jr. himself did. When I was younger, as a young scholar, and I mean like young scholar like high school, there is a quote actually by MLK that I used to always recite: "An individual has not started living until he can rise above the confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity." And for me, that really kind of captures what the Collegium of Scholars is. How do I move beyond my own individualistic concerns to really think about humanity more broadly, and sort of what small impact I can do to help shift sort of what humanity is and sort of where we can go. And so that's really what I think about sort of moral cosmopolitanism and what the Collegium is at the core. And I think all the folks who are selected have proven that they are existing beyond their individual concerns. So, you know, the beauty of the Collegium is not, and I think why it's sort of one of my proudest sort of honors or achievements to date, is that it isn't only focused on sort of education scholars or practitioners, but, you know, there are law professors, there are community sort of activists, of course other educators, medical professionals, and so of course, and there's also this other wing that they have of sort of ministers who are sort of engaged in social justice in the direct ways of the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. himself as a former minister. So it's really this world, I guess, of scholars that I get to sort of be a part of and really learn from. And I think that is the touch point for me. It's what does it mean to leave my world of education for a moment and to sort of be inspired and be in community with other folks across disciplines that I may not see my work as fitting in, but still being inspired nonetheless. There's a few ways I want to think about the importance of Morehouse. And so one, I come from a legacy of sort of HBCU graduates. And so my mother, Deborah Coles, went to Cheyney University, which is considered the first historically black college and university in the nation, and not too far from where I grew up, right outside of the suburbs of Philadelphia. And so there's always been a sort of way in which my sort of politics and my sort of social commitments were grounded in sort of the values of sort of a HBCU legacy. And so really centering and uplifting and affirming the value of blackness, I think, in a world that is anti-black, that tells us that we should not value blackness. And so as a scholar, to be in an institution such as UMass Amherst, but then to sort of get this recognition from a place like Morehouse, who is deeply aligned with the work that I do, and they sort of recognize that and see the value, I think it just makes it sort of this full circle moment of doing work that seeks to sort of express to people the value of blackness in the world, and then by institution that I see as super valuable and important to sort of not just national, but the global black community. And what that means is super important. And I must say, I just have tons of friends and mentors who attended Morehouse, who still attend, and then also the sister school, Spelman, which is for black women. So it's almost like being a part, or being, you know, recognized by these folks that I've always admired for the work that they do. I think why I am proud of this and why I want to highlight it so much is that many of those awards do not come from places like Morehouse, these sort of black or brown enclaves that people may not see as like desirable, right, to have, or, you know, of course people do, but when we think about other gazes, And so I think it's important that we understand this institution, its historical value, and contemporary value, and future value. And I want to be clear, not for Black people, but for the world as sort of a model of what it means to thrive in a place where you're not designed to, and to look and say, that is the recognition that I want from a place like that, right? Not a place that people just expect that everybody will want that from, but I think it holds a certain weight in my eyes.